Try and take off without excessive taxing.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this is a position that Kenyans are waiting for because even the occupant of this position is required to exercise the highest epitome of financial management. And looking at what you furnish us with, Professor, Declaration of Wealth. First of all, Chair, I think we need to also make a clarification to this net worth issue. Because even Kimani Ichunga will agree with me, net worth is your total assets minus total liabilities. But I think what has been quoted before is not the case. Nevertheless, if you look at what you've quoted, family home, farm with house, holiday home, basically those are homes. A total, whether it's a family home, holiday home, leisure home, they are homes. The total is 400 million. Somebody will ask, before even going to the rest, out of 941, 400 goes to homes. Is this the advice you are going to give to Kenyans, that half of your health is a home? Because that's where management of resources and the gauge to how you can run our economy, it starts with you as an individual. You look at the list of the wealth. I don't know whether you came here by walking, because there is no car listed. But according to my knowledge, a car is an asset. And this is a person Kenyans wants to see exercising the highest epitome of financial management. And it starts with what you present to this committee. I want you to clarify, even these shares, piece of agriculture land, how many acres? Investment, financial instrument, what is the shares or dividends? Investment through family company, 400 million. What is it that is 400 million? Shares in a bank, which bank? Imperial, which one is this bank? So this is how a Kenya is going to gauge of the individual that is going to be at the highest financial management institution. Really, we need to be serious.
Miss, you have made statement. What is your question?
To clarify, one, whether he owns a car, because not stated there. Two,
but is he obligated to own a car? There are many people who don't own cars.
The statement of
most
assets.
distinguished lawyer called John Hamino doesn't know how to drive, doesn't own cars, but he travels.
I think the professor can just answer what he can on my description. He knows what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker. Honorable Camino, your friend doesn't own those kinds of homes also. Those homes require cars.
Yes, Naisula, in this batch.
Thank you, Chair. I promise not to weep or be long in this one. So, to the nominee, the number of unemployed youths in Kenya is estimated at 14%, according to the International Labour Organization, and as many as 5.2 million youth adults are unable to find meaningful employment, a pressing concern to policymakers. So my question to you is, how do you intend to turn things around to grow the economy, to specifically secure the millions of jobs that the Kenya Kwanza government promised our youths?
Professor, you can deal with those four.
Thank you, Chairman and honorable members, for those questions. And let me start with the issue of CDF. And I said that I'll be guided by the law, because we have to say the commitments must be made. But of course, they must be consistent with the law. Mheshimiwa Junet actually said there have been a finance committee that has also been talking to the Treasury. They cannot spend more than they are allowed by the law. So we'll be consistent with the law. That is my answer. I don't know which laws the court ruling is. It's a question of checking on that and saying that are we, and we are going to consult also in the relevant organizations of government so that everything is clear. But we cannot fail to honor if the law also permits that. That's my simple answer for that. And thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Murugara. I think I do understand. And we are starting from a very difficult situation. And so when you are in a difficult situation, how do you get out of the difficult situation? His Excellency the President has been using a very nice phrase of, if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. Try to get out. You know. So essentially, there are some short-term issues that we deal with. That's why I started by saying, the current thinking by the government right now, which I borrow, which I buy quite a lot, and I have a lot of discussions with donors. We were, for example, with the donors who are providing food relief, we argued that we may need concessional borrowing, which will help us remove the very expensive domestic debt. And then once that is done, the fiscal space will start building, and then we can start signaling fiscal consolidation. If the government doesn't have fiscal space, it means that it cannot finance development. That's the main issue, and that is the main spin that we want to make sure that we have. If I had the time, one day I can talk about the crowding out, because it actually affects everyone. So it's something, but how do we resolve it? It's actually coming back to trying to create fiscal flexibility by the government so that it will do that. And if this committee approves me, that is the goal that I will start moving towards, fiscal flexibility so that we jump into specifics and trying to help out. And thank you, Mheshimiwa Daud. I didn't know that there were 200 vehicles released out, but again, it's something that I will look at. Let me say this. When the crisis was started biting, and especially the whole world, it's only the US Fed that actually started tightening their monetary policy. And you can see even Euro started being affected because they were not following suit. When everybody followed suit, there was a whole tightening, even in Kenya here. And so the signaling is that there will be scarcity of dollars. So the dollars that you mentioned in terms of deposit, they are owned by individuals. And so everybody moves into a different direction because they are anticipating that there will be tightening. So the whole issue is to say, once the crisis is over, we are going to see dollar flows. The other day I was talking even to several farms, like even tea exporters. They are stockpiling their quantity. The Ukrainian crisis is such that we cannot export the products that we used to export there. We cannot take tea to Pakistan, for example, because of the flood. So there's a bit of a shock in terms of the supply. So we are not getting the dollar flows. But I do believe that it will come through. You have mentioned about the cartels. This is again something I went back to talking about markets. How do we develop markets? How do we regulate markets? How do we protect markets? And why you protect markets is because of the cartels. And you are right. And this is something that I mentioned as a very important second pillar that we're going to deal with. So the situation will be dealt with in that way. Yes, I understand your point about financial management. If you are an investor, you look at what is the appropriate returns at a particular time, and you change over time. What I was required to provide is my net worth given the current situation. Why do people invest in homes? Because they have safe returns. If tomorrow manufacturing sector is better, we will invest there. As an investor, and this, by the way, is a whole congregate of my family and myself, including the cars that we own. We did not break them down. Okay? I came here with a company car, which is an international organization. So essentially, that's why you didn't find specifics. But the most important thing is to tell you that even yourself, you'll wake up tomorrow to invest on the basis of the returns that you see. If the information in the market shows that you're going to get into a loss, you are going to change your investment pattern. So if I observe your investment today, they will be different with the next 10 years to come. And that is the composition. That is what it is all about. Once we create a boom in other sectors of the economy, we'll find everybody flocking into those areas and start earning economic rents from them. Thank you very much for talking about the unemployed youth. And the essence, and I shared, because I talked to, I started with, I raised some of those issues. I talked about
Chairman,
markets because I wanted to make it very clear
Chairman,
that it is
clarification.
Yes, Honorable Mrs.
Sorry for interruption, but where we need to be very keen is the net worth, because it is a repeated question. Can the professor tell us, in his understanding, what is net worth and where is his liability in this statement?
I think what I provided was the net worth. I have no liabilities that sorry. I calculate, by the time I move out, I'm asked for the net worth. That is what I computed and provided. Yeah. Then I wanted to go back to the youth issue, because the youth issue is very, very important. And I think, Madam, the whole issue, what I talked about the markets is that is the kernel of bottom-up approach.
All the Naisula Lesoda.
I feel
Honorable Naisula.
Naisura. I didn't write,
Yes.
write the name. It was so fast.